flowers have to be seen, right? Oh my God. Okay, there are the flowers. Mahadev. Mahadev, ठीक है. Shall we go? Om. Om yo brahmanam vidadhati purvam yo vai vedanscha prahinoti tasmai tam hadevamatma buddhi prakasham mumukshurvai sharanamaham prapadye. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartribhyo Vamsharshibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Sarvopaplavarahitaha Prajnanaganaha Pratyagartho Brahmaivahamasmi Brahmaivahamasmi. Om Vedantartha Vibhasakaya Gurave Shantaya Sannyasine Nanavadi Nagendra Sanghapavaye Yogindra Vandyaya Cha Mohadvanta Divakaraya Bhagavat Pada Bhidham Bibhrate Tasmai Bhashyakೃತೆ Namostu Satatam Purnaya Bodhatmane. Om. Depending upon the very purpose of the person, now we are able to understand through discrimination as of these threefold sadhanas, which one will assume the primary importance and which will be of the secondary importance. Then the teacher does not forget to mention that Bhagavan Shri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says that it is through this divine qualities, and why are they called as divine? Not because of something miraculous or anything, but they are divine because they release the person from bondage. Certain attitudes and qualities which we have harbored in ourselves can become the cause of bondage, meaning these are the qualities or attitudes which are going to continue the suffering of the person. So now, because one can clearly see that there is some sort of suffering, And if you are able to identify the cause of suffering is ignorance, and that ignorance is protected, shielded, armored by these qualities, and therefore they are also called as bondage. They are born from ignorance and also ensure the continuity of the bondage of the ignorance. Therefore, they are called as demonic qualities. This is the only reason. So, therefore, now in understanding what are the Daivi, what is the Daivi in the sense, what is the divine wealth, we have already seen one verse of Bhagavad Gita, and we will quickly run through it so that we understand that in order to overcome the demonic qualities, the those attitudes which ensure the continuity of suffering have to be neutralized, have to be uprooted, they have to be made important by bringing the divine qualities. Because by the very definition of vasana akshaya, you will remember it was what was said. Can anybody please tell what was said as the meaning of vasana kshaya? He had taken every precaution to explain the compound word vasana and kshaya. So vasana and kshaya put together, he had shown us what is the how that the meaning of that sadhanam. Does anybody remember? Huh? Ah, correct. Now it simply means that I am trying to give up my demonic qualities. I know. All that one has to do is to try and strengthen the divine qualities. And this, therefore, the field that we find where we can actually exercise. This is your gymnasium. This is your gym where you can truly exercise, and that gym is your interactions with the world. A person can say that, well, I am very peaceful as long as people don't disturb me. No, you will know that whether people disturb you, don't disturb you, only when one is in contact with the world, interacting with the world. And therefore, over here, we are going to see how these can be practiced. If what is the meaning of that wealth, what is the meaning of those divine virtues, noble qualities is understood, then it can easily be practiced. One has provided, one is alert, and one is diligent to detect the presence of anything else. When these qualities become your nature and spontaneous, they have a spontaneity to it. Not because people should call me good, but this is how I am. I can't be otherwise. When this becomes as natural and as spontaneous as that, then you can understand Vasana Kshaya has taken place or is taking place. When it is effortless, this is not meant so that you can win the approval of God, be in the good books of God. Okay. It is natural, and hence I do it. If you're doing it so that the world can give you a certificate or God can give you a nod of approval, then you are grossly mistaken. Say suppose if the world does not recognize your virtue, then such a person will stop being good. So understand this goodness which is being spoken, the noble qualities of life which are being enumerated over here, is not meant so that people can appreciate, celebrate you for your greatness. Here, further, you will see that the teacher himself will say that the world is never going to call you really good. Therefore, forget about it. Don't embark on your journey with a wrong attitude to begin with. Te cha sampadau tatreva abhihite. These are the divine virtues, wealth, which have been shown to us. Tatra, kutra, tatra means in Bhagavad Gita itself. So we have done the first shloka. Now we will go to the second one. Kindly repeat the shloka. Ahimsa satyamakrodhaha. Ahimsa satyamakrodhaha. Tyagashantirapaishunam. Tyagashantirapaishunam. दया भूतेष्वलोलुप्त्वम् दया भूतेष्वलोलुप्त्वम् मार्दवं ह्रीरचापलम् मार्दवं ह्रीरचापलम्. Chapalam is not chapalam of a church, okay? Chapel. No. It is uh, chapalam is Rira chapalam. It is not chapalam. It is Ri and achapalam. Chapalyam means fickle mindedness. Achapalam means there is stability to the person's behavior, attitudes, decisions. Achapalam. Well, here, ahimsa, the first one today to be noted is ahimsa. Ahimsa means non-violence, not wanting to cause any injury. Why should your happiness or pleasure be dependent on somebody else's suffering? The other day, I was at someone's place for Bhiksha, and they had brought their son who wants to be a vet because he loves animals. I asked him, do you feel sorry to see a dead animal in your plate? Do you feel sorry to see a dead animal in your plate or not? And after that family left, that boy didn't answer me. Then the host said, Swamiji, good you said that. Because this boy cannot have a single meal or a breakfast without any fish, meat, or chicken or something like that. Ahimsa. For the sake of one's pleasure, you are causing pain and suffering to somebody. I didn't kill it. If you were not to demand, why would it get killed? Don't say that your hands do not have blood on it. In fact, you are forcing the butcher to do it. Ahimsa, that's one part. Also, ahimsa means that using the words also carefully as not to hurt anyone. Now, this is meant for a seeker. There is a very interesting incident in life of one of these, Vaishnava Krishna Bhaktas from Vrindavan. So this devotee was meditating in the sand of Yamuna, on the bank of Yamuna river, and he was meditating on the pastimes of Shri Krishna, Leelas of Shri Krishna. And he saw something wherein Shri Krishna, in his mischief, he was visualizing the mischief of Shri Krishna that made him laugh. But there was another person sitting close by. Perhaps he was also trying to meditate, and he must have fallen to sleep. And generally, you must have seen when people are sitting in a group meditation, all of them sleep. And but when you get that dhakka, jerk, the first thing that one does is open the. The first thing that the person does is to open the eyes and see has anybody noticed me or not. And don't think that only you do it. Everybody does it. So this person must have also fallen to sleep also. And he saw that there is this sadhu sitting there and he is laughing. Actually, the laughter was not to humiliate this person. He had nothing to do. He had not even noticed. He was absorbed in his meditation. But the thing so happened that the scene that he was seeing of Shri Krishna's Leela, Krishna that suddenly disappeared. And so he opened the eyes and he saw what had happened was the other person was hurt because of it. The idea over here is not to tell you the magic. The thing is that how careful one should be as not to hurt anyone, consciously or even unconsciously. That is the reason why you have the prayer Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha. It is not only that the chosen people are only there who should become happy. Everybody. Everybody. In sannyas, this is the one of the mukhya vratas, the principal vratas that a sannyasi should follow. And that is, when we are given sannyas, we stand over there by the Shikha Sutra is cut, the clothes are given up, and here he stands, and the first declaration that he makes to the world is Abhayam Sarvabhutebhyaha. In the Praisha mantras are chanted, and that Praisha mantra is meaning this is only for the sannyasis. Grihastha should not hear these Praisha mantras. Huh. The Praisha mantra is that there is assurance from me to the whole world. No one has any, no one is threatened. You have no bhayam from me. Abhayam sarvabhutebhyaha. Ahimsa, so this is one quality, is ahimsa. So one has to bring as much as possible in practice. Satyam. Satyam means truthfulness. Vachaspati Mishra, in his commentary on the Yoga Sutras, where he describes Satyam, he gives a very beautiful example. And he gives an example from Mahabharata. Over there, you know Mahabharata story, that Yudhishthir is a person who is so established in Satyam that even in a jocular vein, he has never spoken lies. Even as a joke, he has never lied. Somebody is going to say, well, he must be very boring. And as a result of his, you know, abidance in truthfulness, it is said the chariot in which he rode would rise for a span above the earth. The wheels of the chariot would not touch the ground. That was because of his abidance in truth. But on the battlefield, when Bhishmacharya falls down, Drona becomes the commander of the forces. Dronacharya. You know the story. You know, Drona becomes the commander of the forces. And Dronacharya creates a havoc in the Pandava army by, brings about so much destruction. And so they say Drona has to be stopped some way or the other. And there is no other way. That there is no way they see that Drona can be really stopped. But there is only one thing. Drona loves his son Ashwathama very much. If somehow Drona comes to know that Ashwathama has died, Drona will lose all his interest in living. Forget the battle. He will not have interest even in living his life. Shri Krishna Bhagavan knows this. So they say, we have to do something. And so in the Kaurava camp, there is an elephant, the war elephant, the battle elephant. His name is also Ashwathama. Okay? Previously, in India, we used to name our dogs, etc., as Moti, Chandi, Sona. Later on, people felt no. Johnny, Josie, all English names. That was because the British said the Indians and the dogs are not allowed. Here's Johnny, Edward, Elizabeth. That was a way of getting back. Ashwathama was another elephant in the Kaurava camp. Very powerful elephant. And Bhima was told that bring this elephant down. Bhima with his might brings the elephant down, and the elephant dies, it perishes. So now Ashwathama has died. So technically speaking, if you are going to say Ashwathama has died, you are not wrong. Lawyer, Ashwathama has died. You're not lying. Ashwathama has died. Bhagavan Shri Krishna says yes. Somebody just go and tell Drona that Ashwathama has died. And for Drona, the meaning of Ashwathama is his own son. And he knows that anybody else, if Shri Krishna says Ashwathama has died, Drona is not going to take it. The only person who is trustworthy is Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira has to say, they tell, you go and say. Yudhishthira says, don't tell me this. I have never done. I have never lied. For a person who has never done anything wrong in life, to tell him to do even a small thing which is wrong, he finds it as some, dharma sankat. How can I do that? But it is elephant which has died. So Shri Krishna says, all right, you say Ashwathama has died, and also say, so Drona is going to ask you, my son. So at that time you can say, maybe the elephant. Maybe the elephant. So Drona will still have some hope that my son is still alive. It is not his son, but an elephant. And when he gets the news, by that time he's again, Ashwathama, my son. No. And he will continue creating the havoc. So what Shri Krishna does is, he tells those people playing the drums and the, battle, the kettle drums and everything, that surround Yudhishthira when his chariot is close to Drona. All of you start beating the drums before Yudhishthira says the second sentence. He is going to say the second sentence too. So that in that din and roar, Drona does not hear that sentence. Blow the conches there. So it is as it is, people are shouting, the elephants are trumpeting, the horses and everything, and is going on. Here comes Bhishma's, what is it called, Drona's chariot and Yudhishthira's chariot in front of each other. Already the people are shouting, Ashwathama has died, Ashwathama has died, and he looks at Yudhishthira. Is that? And Yudhishthira says, Narova Kunjarova. Maybe your son, maybe the person, or maybe Kunjara means an elephant. But before the drums are beating, he says, yes, Ashwathama has died. First sentence. Yes, Ashwathama. Second sentence, the conches are blown, drums are beaten. Drona does not hear. And Drona, Tatkala, at that immediate reaction is, he drops all his weapons and he sits down. Drishtadyumna attacks Drona and Drona dies. So thus, Pandava army is saved from destruction, getting destroyed. That very moment, Yudhishthira's chariot falls down to the earth. the wheels which are rolling above the earth, immediately it crashes down and touches the earth. Even his horses would also, I mean, whatever it is just a way of saying. Vachaspati Mishra at that point, he explains Satyam. He says Satyam means when your words are able to create the same understanding in the mind of the listener, then it is Satyam. It is not Satyam. It is not a convenient Satyam. It is not compromised Satyam. It is Satyam means the words should be able to create the same meaning. When Yudhishthira is saying Ashwathama dies, for Yudhishthira, what is the meaning? The elephant. But when his words are heard by Drona, it carries the meaning the person Ashwathama. And therefore, though these are the words from Yudhishthira, now they are no longer Satyam. You know? Not like all your companies with asterisks. Conditions apply. Not conditions applied. It is Satyam. So ahimsa satyam akrodha. Akrodha means not getting angry. Not getting angry. Absence of anger. You have to find out what makes a person angry. A terrorist is an angry person. What is he angry at? Why is he hell bent on killing people whom he does not know? Have they harmed him? Have they offended his family or anything? No, but he just wants to kill. He is angry. For what reason? Why do you want to punish anyone? Of course, he is a terrorist, but he is angry. His anger is that the world is supposed to make me happy and it is not allowing me to be happy. So anything which is going to become an obstruction for you to reach your happiness, your joy, towards that object, towards that person, towards that situation, there is going to be anger. Anger is generated. So if you have understood this much, now it is the time for a person to verify where has he placed his happiness that the world is preventing him from reaching. Correct? And you will find that more you contemplate on this fact, the irritation, anger, frustration will slowly wither away. This is the transformation of a person. An angry person is basically a displeased person. He seems to be displeased with the world, but actually he is displeased with himself. So therefore, satyam and akrodhaha. Tyagaha. Tyaga means renunciation. Tyaga means renunciation. Understand that a person who is able to give up always will have the greatness. In hoarding, there is not no greatness. In giving, there is greatness. In keeping, there is no greatness, but in giving up. So, tyagaha shantihi. Shanti means that the mind can remain pacified, peaceful, at peace, free from conflict, which means that the person has learned how to pacify the mind whenever it becomes agitated, disturbed. Don't carry it further. Shanti. In fact, one saint of India, Eknath Maharaj, is called as Shanti Brahma. So this is Shanti Brahma Eknath Maharaj ki jai. It's called as Shanti Brahma. His peace inside is like a pillar, rock solid. And in presence of such a person, even others also will become peaceful. So Shantirapaishunam. Paishunam means the habit of finding faults in others. So this person is able to find constantly on a hunt. Apaishunam. Goswami Tulsidas ji says that these saints and sages are like the cotton fibers. Cotton. Why? Because though the cotton gets beaten and but ultimately it becomes a cloth, and that cloth covers the faults of the body. The cloth covers the defects in the body. So also it is the swabhava of the saints. There may be defects, but they help the person overcome the defects. They cover it. Help him overcome. And therefore it is apaishunam. Daya. Daya means compassion. But where daya, people have got sympathy only for themselves. Daya. The same thing somebody else does, mahat papam. You do it, you have forgiven yourself. Okay? Daya. Daya towards all. In Bhagavatam, Bhagavan Shri Krishna says there are few cardinal things, values that you should follow. If you don't even understand anything of spirituality, these are the few cardinal things that you should follow. One is, because you have people of three categories. The fourth category we will discuss later. At least three categories with in front of you. Somebody is higher than you by education, by age, by experience, is not it? Through their knowledge. Somebody is bound to be always greater to you. Then there are people who are equal to you in age, in status, intelligence, achievements equal to you. And those who are younger, lesser than you by age or achievements, education, intelligence, there are various criteria. Now he says, with those whom you have, who are elder to you in any respect, towards them have an attitude of humility and respect towards them. Treat them respectfully. Treat them respectfully. Talking about our local languages, mother tongues, generally in the all the Indian languages, the father was never addressed with in singular terms. Mother they would, we would, but the father was never. Tu was cannot be said. Aap means Hindi, but in Marathi तुम्ही. बाबाला सांग नव्हतं. नावरती अनुस्वार सुद्धा. This is how it was. My problem came when, in English, how do you say this to your father? So, any which ways, we are talking about respect towards elders, whosoever it may be. That's why it is told that in front of the teacher, Guru Gita, Dattatreya Bhagavan Shankar, he says, in front of the teacher, a person should not sit with his, legs stretched forward, rolling down. And even sitting disrespectfully is also not advised. Not, I mean, one should avoid at any cost. Talking to the teacher, even, what do they call it? Gurumapi akroshati. Like, with, what do they call it?
Low voice.
Huh?
Low voice and respect.
No. Talking to the teacher in a higher voice, raised voice.
Raised voice.
No. How- At any point, the humility should not be given up. So that is about dealing with elders, dealing with peers. What do we do with our friends? We want to be head above shoulders. We want to show how smarter we are than them. We are one step above you. Never do that. Because friendship means both of you are on the same level. If we do that, we will never have a friend. Then don't cry. Why are you feeling lonely? Because you have nobody. You always have proven yourself to be in some way better than others, holier than thou. Don't have the same with peers. Let it be the same. Then those who are younger to you, lesser than you, towards them always have the attitude of forgiving and acceptance, affection. So when a person is able to manage his life this way around him, he already has created an harmony. He has created harmony. So he has created a conflict free life. Now, for such a person to enter inside is not going to be difficult. There is peace around him, and therefore now he can easily become, turn his gaze inwards. Avritta chakshu. The fourth one is the category where the person is kind of a criminal, hell bent on causing harm. Over there, Bhagwan Patanjali says, have indifference towards them. Have indifference towards them. So these are the things that apaishunam daya bhuteshu. Where did it come from? Bhuteshu daya. Okay. Aloluptvam. Aloluptvam means lolupta is where the indriyas are constantly seeking excitement. Where the indriyas are constantly seeking excitement, hankering after those objects all the time. Aloluptvam. Don't allow the objects to become the master of your life. That's why don't become slaves to the world. Retain your independence. But Swamiji, how can I be happy without it? No, if you have decided that you cannot be happy, how should anybody else make you happy? Because you have decided, you see. And I must have told you sometime, I was in Vrindavan many years ago as a young sadhu living over there and studying. So there were other boys who were of more or less of my age around. And so they used to feel that, ये हमारे स्वामी जी हमारे उम्र के हैं, हम उम्र is same age. So one of them came huffing, puffing, panting one evening. स्वामी जी आपको कुछ बताना है, कुछ बताना है. मैंने बोला हाँ जी. What else you have fallen in love? स्वामी जी आपको कैसे पता चला? What else are you going to tell? What could be more important than this to you at this time? Oh, Swamiji, I cannot live without her. I said, okay, very good. मैं बहुत दुखी हूँ. I'm really very, very unhappy now. I want to somehow, I said, very good. When did you meet her? He says, just last evening. I said, and did she talk to you? No, Swamiji, I've just seen her. I said, without talking, not even in 24 hours, she has made your life so miserable. Now imagine what would happen more. You tell. Aloluptvam. Don't allow the world to become your master. Aloluptvam mardavam. Mardavam means, huh? Gentleness. The word is mridu. Soft. That is how the word mardavam comes. Mridu. Soft. Soft means what? All the time. This is not soft. Soft means you are able to accommodate the person. There is always you can accommodate. Yeah, it's okay. Swami Dayananji said very nice thing there once. He said, somebody comes and tells you that 2 plus 2 is 5. He says, I accommodate him as my because he's my wife's brother. I accept, but I don't have to accept what he says, right? So those were like, saying, how we accommodate the people, the person. You don't have to be, you know, act, all the time accepting his ideas also, or ideologies, idiosyncrasies, no need. But that does not make me judgmental about the person that the person is bad. I may say his idiosyncrasy, his ideology is wrong. I reject that, but I accept the person. If he is hungry, I have food for you. If you are thirsty, I have water for you. I can accommodate you. This is how India was. Otherwise, how do you think all other religions could find and could stay together? But then, if you are going to say, no, sir, I cannot tolerate you. We tolerated, we allowed you, we absorbed you. But there is an ideology which says, no, these people should not be accepted. Now I will have to resist it somewhere. Mridu means accommodating. Just mridu does not mean becoming a doormat. I can accommodate you. Bhuteshwaloluptvam mardavam rirachapalam rihi. The word is ri. Ri means a little shyness. What have they said? Modesty. When Bhagwan Ram was taken across by the ferryman when they crossed Ganga, now they are already Vanvasi, in exile. But Sita has few ornaments on her. He does not have any money. Sita has few ornaments, maybe a ring or so. And he tells Sita, look here, he has brought us across. Give him something. And when Sita wants to give the ring or gold just for crossing that river, Bhagwan Ram feels that, giving this, he feels shy. He feels that whatever I am giving is less. Whatever I am giving is less. And that's why the Upanishad says, Riyadeyam, Bhiyadeyam, Riyadeyam. Give, one must. But what should be the attitude? Giving. 1 rupee I have given. And that person will remember that till the end. Riyadeyam. What I am giving to you, sir, madam, whatever, is less, but this is what I can give. Give whatever you can. But give how? With riya, not with pride, arrogance, not with the idea that now, since I have given, this person is he has to be indebted to me. Don't give anything to anyone to be indebted to you. Riyadeyam. That is called ri. Okay. And then next is achapalam. I have already explained achapalam. Okay. We are quickly going through this. I mean, this is not really going quick. But I suppose, you'll give, fine, what is there? I'm not in a hurry. I'm anyways unemployed. I have plenty of time. Hriyadeyam. Achapalam. Next shloka. Tejakshama dhruti shaucham adroho natimanita bhavanti sampadam daivim abhijatasya bharata. Tejaha. Teja means brightness, brilliance. And this is the quality of fire, Tej, isn't it? You try to bring the flame down, hold a torch upside down, the flame rises up. Flame does not turn downwards ever, always rises up. Like that, no matter the situations and conditions around me may be wanting to douse the fire, my spirit, my enthusiasm, my smile, but they cannot. Then that is called a stage. परिस्थिति से अभिभूत न होना. When the situations do not weigh you down, that is called teja. Don't say teja means, when the skin is glowing and Mahatma Tejasvi. What Tejasvi? You're talking about some, lactocalamine. I don't know if they still sell it in the market. I used to see that in China. Did they? Fair. Lagao, chamkao. This is called a stage. You talk to us about those Mahatmas, Samartha Ramdas and all, who in sun and wind and winter and rain, they're walking in the, all the forests and deserts and towns and villages. What do you think? The skin is going to glowing? Hey, it will be all sunburnt. Then what is the meaning of Teja? Teja means this: not to get bogged down, not to get subdued by the conditions around you. When the knowledge does not get subdued, then that knowledge is Tejasvi. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai. And then Tejasvinavadhitamastu. Whatever we have learned, let that make us Tejasvi. Means let that knowledge always shine bright. Let that knowledge never ever become clouded, obscure, Tejasvi. Otherwise, that knowledge will become the knowledge of Karna. You know, Karna has learnt and he has acquired all this Astra Vidya from Parshurama. But when the time comes for him to use it, it doesn't. Swamiji, we are very peaceful and nice when we listen to satsang, but when we go out, I don't know what happens. What happens to that knowledge? Karna, gone. Tejas. So the knowledge should be available when it is required. Otherwise, we are like those students who study hard, but when they, writing the exam paper, and after those 2 hours, 3 hours of examination, he comes out of the examination hall and looks at them. I knew this answer, and then why didn't you write? We are like that. No, that is so. What is required is tej. Tejasvinavadhitamastu. Got it? So don't mistake. Tejasvi Mahatma does not mean the one who is fair and nice and the skin is glowing. He could have applied something. Uh, that is called Tejasvi. Bhagwan Bhashyakara writes it very clearly in his Bhashyam. Natu Tvagata Diptihi. It is not the glow of the complexion. Twak means the skin. It Natu Tvagata Dipti. Dipti is the glow. It is not the dipti, the glow of the skin. But generally when people say बड़े तेजस्वी दिखते हैं ना, तेजस क्या तेजस्वी के मतलब क्या दिखते हैं? Clean shaven, that's all. Teja, kshama. Now you understand kshama. We have already dealt with it. Teja, kshama, dhriti. Dhriti means fortitude, tenacity. Because it is written fortitude here. When there is some situation or you already have worked, now the pranas become shithila. They become as if the body is falling loose, can't do any further. Though there, now by looking at it, there is dhriti. Some people will come. Swamiji, how long is the lecture? 1 hour. Can't it be made 45 minutes? 1 hour 45 minutes. Very good. So that time that dhriti is something that keeps you integrated. Whatever may be the work, and then when according to that work, the dhriti will integrate and keep you ready. That is, this power to stay integrated is with holding all this physical strength, etc., is called as dhriti. Now, when it comes to the sadhana, meditation, shravanam, kirtan, bhajan, japa, at that time, नहीं होता बाबा, नहीं होता. कितना करने का भगवान का, एक इनको दीपक जलाने में इनकी धृति खत्म हो जाती है. When the dhriti means you are always ready for that sadhan bhajan, then that dhriti is सात्विक dhriti. सिनेमा देखना है, कुछ करना है, खाना पीना है, हम थके हुए अब भी चलते हैं. ना अब कहां से तुम्हारे में इतनी शक्ति आ गई? From where has so much interest, strength? You just came, said that, let's go for this, Vedanta. No, I'm very tired. There's a new restaurant, Chinese. Huh? Really? Nice one. Now, where this Dhriti has come, you just said you were so tired. Suddenly, so when the Dhriti is able to integrate and bring the body back to functioning so that you can appease the senses, gratify the senses, Rajasa Dhriti, Rajasi. Then there are some people who never get tired of crying, grieving, complaining. You have seen Tamasi Dhriti, glorifying their own dukkham all the time. इनको दुख से बाहर ही नहीं आना है, as if that is their permanent address. वहीं पे रहे. Dhriti. So Dhriti, pay attention to Dhriti, where one is able to come forth with all the strength to hold it, fight like a soldier in the line. Teja Kshama Dhruti. Then Shaucham. Shaucham means huh? Cleanliness, purity, but there is something more. Now you please tell. Your toilets are very clean, but is that a Shaucham? There is Shaucham to it. You will do puja sitting over there. So Shaucham has got a different meaning more than just cleanliness. It means sanctity. Shaucham. Some people do that, taking food, the left, right, any hand, putting in mouth, ears, whichever hole they find over here, they already are putting it with that thing. Shaucham. And they feel, Swamiji, what is wrong? Take. Shaucham. What is the phalam of Shaucham? Patanjali Bhagavan says, the phalam meaning fruit of, result of that Shaucham is, consequence is, Swadeheshu Jugupsa Pareshu Asansargaha. You know how much we are identified with one's body and constantly want to make it attractive. So others can be infatuated with this body, that this others can find this body to be very attractive. Swamiji, natural beauty, 80 years, but natural beauty. This girl, no, what about? What are you trying to prove? Are you in competition with this? In my childhood, during the summer vacations and all, there was a lot of children around because, like close family and everything, all cousins. We used to make a lot of noise. In the afternoon, this, people who are at home, they'd like to take some siesta. Sona hai. So they used to be very annoyed with us. You remember? They would be very annoyed. And 20, 15, 20 children just creating ruckus.
Oh my God.
So there used to be one old lady, Aji. So she was everybody's Aji, Pandya ji. They used to live there. So now this old woman, what she used to do is gather us all and make us sit. And in the afternoon, she'll say, I will tell you stories. So all boys and girls, everybody used to gather stories. Summer afternoon story. 4 days, 5 days, all her stories got finished. He started repeating. So we know. That was what happens with Swamiji's. Swamiji, we know. Then she said, what am I going to tell them now? So something has to be told to keep the children quiet for 1 hour at least. And so one day she said, when I was young, this is a very typical Indian language. My nose was like the bud of a champa flower, champakali. Not मुझे champakali. Yeah? The nose is beautiful, delicate, like a bud of that champa flower. So this my cousin, he said, Achi and grandmother, in your days, champakali used to look like this. Innocent question, but very cruel. Very. Hmm? Why did I come here? Hmm? Shaucham. Swadeheshu jugupsa. That this body, any which ways, no matter whose body it is, whether it is a body of a rich man or a poor man, white man or a black man or a Chinese man, whosoever it may be, whatever comes out of this body is all filth. So, whatever, lara, and everything coming is filth. On top of it, now you not only that you want to make others believe that this is very beautiful and something that you should have. Swadeheshu jugupsa, pareshu asansargaha. Does not get infatuated with. This is the phalam of shaucham. Okay? Shaucham is not to be used to show that you know how holy you are than others. No. Shaucham should lead to this is the whole idea of our scriptures. Swadeheshu jugupsa. Swadehe jugupsa pareshu asamsargaha. Shaucham adrohaha. Adroha means creating disturbance for others in some way or the other. Adroha. Na atimanita, have self-respect. But your self-respect does not mean that y- others have to be disrespected. Nobody can harm your self-respect. Nobody can actually harm your self-respect. Only you. When I'm going to call you bad or call you some name, you are offended, and I have my own self respect. He may call you bad. Why do you have to take that? No, that is what you say. It doesn't affect me. I respect myself. And that does not mean that you have to also respect me. You respect me, very good. That is your virtue. That's your goodness if you respect me. But me saying that my self-respect means it is dependent on putting you down, killing your respect, then that is not it. So nati manita, have manita, atimanita should not be there. Have self-respect, and self-respect is this: you may choose to call me bad, but that does not make me feel I am bad. Why should I feel offended? That's your judgment. It stays with you. That's your judgment and it will stay with you. It is not, it doesn't touch me. And so, na atimanita. So over here he says, Bhagavan Krishna, bhavanti sampadam daivim. Hey Partha or Arjuna, what is this? This is these virtues are divine wealth. These virtues are they are divine because they lead you to moksha. Now look at this. Throughout all this, have you noticed there is one common thread, and that is, huh? That's okay. Throughout all these virtues, you have found that it is, in a way, how you are making your happiness independent. You are simply making your happiness independent. Your happiness is not dependent because somebody judges you badly or he judges you with high. No. Throughout these qualities, abhayam, sattvasam, shuddhi, etc., through all these things, one thing is for sure that now you are a happy person, and only you can now enter into this shravana manana nididhyasanam. No, the very person who is very sad, alone, becomes a spiritual person. Please. A sad person has not understood how to make his happiness free, how to be happy, how to be at peace with himself. Only a person who's happy, peaceful, content, now he has developed, his intelligence is no longer under the grip of sadness, and therefore such an intelligence is not going to distort the knowledge, and therefore when the knowledge is imparted to such a person, it will it will quickly get absorbed. That's why it is daivi sampat. Then what is asuri sampat? Something that is going to prevent the knowledge from taking place, something that is going to ensure that your sadness, suffering continues, is called as asuri sampat, demonic, evil. Over here, there is no evil devil sitting somewhere sending his special things to you. Mhm. Suffering and sadness is not created by any devil sitting somewhere. Don't you see how we are creating it in our daily lives for yourselves, for the others? Aren't you seeing? When this is so evident, why do you want to hold somebody else responsible for it? This is just shifting the responsibility. This is simply refusing to look at a fact And then you said you have the audacity to say that by preaching such things, we are doing good to the world. What good? What good is this? By saying that there is some devil who's causing all these problems. What? Oh, the devil caused the world war. What world war? It were the vested interests of people, their selfishness, their greed for power, for wealth, which leads to all this. When this is evident to you, why are you wanting to shift the blame on someone, a non existent entity? How easy escapes we have found for centuries together under the name of religion. You see, Shri Krishna does not say anything like this. He says, "Have these are the divine virtues, these are the demonic qualities. And therefore, the demonic qualities are going to cause bondage, and the divine virtue is meant for moksha. So, by strengthening these, Vasana Kshaya takes place. Okay, now we will see what is the other thing when we meet next. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः ॐ ॐ ॐ. Thank you all. Thank you very much.